Okay, juniors, welcome back. Today, our goal is to compose a beat. So last week we started with samples, which were pre-made musical clips. Today we're going to be starting from scratch, and we are going to compose a beat from the ground up. And I'll show you the way to make our really bare bones skeleton basic beat to begin with. That's a lot of B's. And then after that, we will look at ways that you can kind of add more sophisticated elements and kind of make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more rich. But for starters, let's get the basics down. So we're going to start a music track. We're going to add a new track here, and rather than the loop library from last week, we are going to head to the drum and beats section. Now what I have arrayed before me here is called a sequencer. And that's basically just a fancy way of saying something that puts things into order. And this is a very similar interface to Chrome Music Lab, which you'll already be familiar with, but this is way more complicated. So with this, I can basically just click to drop beats right onto there. If I click and hold, if I want to drop a lot in a row, I can do that, and it works the same way in reverse. If I want to delete, click and delete. Now, one thing you may want to check on your browser is how close your zoom is. For example, if I were zoomed in a little bit more, then it's a little bit easier to see. However, I want to be able to see two full sections. You notice they're labeled number 1, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, number 2, and then it cuts off there. So I can scroll along using this little scroll bar, but I like to see everything at once. So you might want to go to View or Zoom, or if you know the shortcuts on my computer, which is a Mac, it's just Command and minus to go smaller or plus to go bigger. So I like it just so I can see two full bars, and we're going to be focusing just on 2 bars today. However, some of you may want to go beyond that, and that is good too. So let's just take a look here. I've got my 3 basic drum sounds for now. I've got a kick, a snare, and a hi-hat. And the hi-hat's just that tss, that's going to keep the steady beat for us. So what I'm going to start with is just dropping a hi-hat sound on every second bar or every second beat here. And I'm only going to go up to the end of the second one because I'm only going to worry about filling in 2 bars for right now. We can copy and repeat those as much as we want. So all I need is just the beginning of a beat. So another thing down here is our metronome. If that is switched on, I'll just go a little bigger so we can see that. We can switch that right off for now because we don't need anything to keep the beat for us. We are composing a beat of our own. So if I give this a listen, nice steady beginning. And of course, if I want it to play on a repeat, then I'm going to highlight my looping bar here, the looping function, and I'm going to shrink that down to just the 2 bars that I'm working with so that I can press play and have that just go on repeat for me. Now, let's actually get into some beat making. So I'm going to put some kick and snare in there. Let's give that a listen. If I want to go back to the beginning, I need to make sure that my playhead is over here at number 1. I'll make it a little bigger when I do this stuff. And the shortcut for that is also just the Enter key 2 times will put me back to the very beginning. Spacebar is the shortcut for play and pause. So I've got a nice simple beat going there. Maybe I want to add in one more bass kick at the beginning. Nice. So just like that, I've got the basics of a beat. And if I want that to go on a repeat, then I can just, I'm actually going to want to combine these 2 together. So this is a fancy little trick if you want to start stretching this out. I'm going to click on one section and then hold down on Shift and click on the next section. And then I'm going to right click, or if you're on a Chromebook or a Mac, you're going to 2-finger click here. And that gives me a few options, and I'm just going to merge the regions, which means I'm going to combine them into one. You notice that they're kind of 2 separate boxes there, and I want those together. So I'm going to click on one, hold down Shift, and click on the other. Or I think I might be able to, you can also just select multiple sections by highlighting like so. I'm going to do a 2-finger click, and I'm going to merge those regions. And now this is just one piece, and if I want that to go on a loop, I can just drag and repeat it like that. Now I want to start getting it a little bit more interesting. So it starts me off with just the 3 drum sounds, but I'm going to add a 4th, and we can choose what we want that to sound like. We've got a lot of different options here, but I am going to go with what they have given me, which is an open hi-hat. And I'm going to change every 3rd one of my closed hi-hats to an open hi-hat, and that will give it a really nice little spicy flair. Check this out. And maybe I want to add another double snare hit at the end there just to give it a little bit of punch at the end. So the cool thing is that once I have this really simple beat, I can just make little tweaks, and all of a sudden I can do really interesting kind of layered stuff with it. So if I want to maybe add in a progression now, and I want it to kind of escalate, I'm going to zoom us in a little bit more so I can see. So rather than simply dragging this onward, which will give me the same thing on repeat, I'm going to copy this section, and then I'm going to edit the next one. So I'm going to, once again, right-click and copy, and then just beside it here, I'm going to right-click or double finger click and paste,